Good afternoon, everybody, or good evening, or even good morning, depending on where you're watching from. My webcam is not currently working, so let's get that working now, and there we go, we got it. So, hello, everybody, welcome on into Division 2. It is round 6 of Season 7 here in Brazil. Of course, the real-life F1 circus visiting here just a few days ago. But obviously going into tonight, we have obviously had Division 1 reach the halfway point of the season, but for Division 2, tonight is their time to shine. They will be doing the same one-shot full qualifying format. We will go through that in just a few moments' time. But first, at your driver's standings, well, Pleasant Snake, 4 wins in a row, converting pole position for 2 times in a row. Technically, could be 4 times in a row if you discount the reverse grid. But at the moment, leading by 20 points to Quincy, who has 5 second places in a row. If there was any time to step up to the winner's step, tonight is that night. Energetic in 3rd place there, really needs to get back on the podium after spending the first 2 races on there, 1 win and 1 3rd place to his name so far. And then the other guy to take a podium once in this season is Moksha in 4th place, followed by Race Chase in 5th. Then it's Salvi, Trugster, ADS, Toby, and Kovaczka rounding out your top 10 with Tabran, Skid Solo, Takagino, Sir Ibo, Quan, Rendog, and Bruiser rounding out your full-time Division 2 drivers. Your reserves, well, leading that at the moment is Rolly and Danger David, behind by 3 points. Then it's Vincenzo with 12 points, fellow son Demblis, and even points there, followed by Eugene, that is, on 6 points with Falco Warrior and Sergeant Devsey on 0 points. And how that looks in your constructor standings, well, that is very tight at the top, tighter than the Drivers' Championship. 10 points between the Aston Martin, who lead, and the Ferrari in 2nd, with Mercedes not too far behind there with 108 points, with Williams and Haas rounding out your top 5. Williams the closer of the 2 teams, but Red Bull are hot on the heels of the American team. For the Haas, that is 58 points, then 46 points for the Racing Bulls, Alpine, McLaren, and Kick Sauber rounding out your top 10 constructors. And of course, last time we were here, it was not Mexico. We will bring that graphic up in just a few moments, but let's go through to the commentary booth. It is Herman the German, F125 breaking point specialist, World of Tanks specialist, and just an all-round great friend. Herman the German, very good evening to you.
Very welcome to you as well, Des, and hopefully for we are both ready for this exciting one-shot full qualifying session that is already taking place yesterday at this amazing track. Has produced a wonderful race on Sunday, I have to say. For me, one of the best after, in terms of dry race, after the 2021 finale. So lots of overtaking. And if this stays dry, it should be good as well. There's a bit of field spread in this division. Yesterday was very hard to overtake and get by on people, I can tell you that. So I'm looking forward to see who can put themselves in a good position. And as we all know, all reverse grids opportunities have now been vanished, as you have used the last one for Division 1 yesterday, and we're looking forward to see who can come out on top, and maybe, just maybe, we can dream of someone else on the top step rather than Pleasant Snake, who's been running away with it lately. Who do you think has maybe a chance to get one over him?
Well, I would say for this evening, Quincy, it's important for him to finally get that, to make that step from 2nd place to 1st place. He's really got to do that tonight. You know, we're going into the halfway, well, we'll have half the season done after tonight. We've had that in Division 1 and now in Division 2. And so he's got to kind of get in the mindset of this race is the one that's going to be the most important. He's got to finish it first, but then has also got to finish first. And he's proven for 5 out of the 6 races, he can finish 5 races in the same place for 5 straight times in a row. But now it is important to go from the 2nd best to be the 1st best. And what a better format you can do to get your foot in the right direction. Of course, just to kind of remind everybody at home, in case you weren't here for Division 1 last night, you need to set your flying lap within the first 5 minutes. That also does include your out lap. So in this session, once you get to the 13-minute mark, you must have done both your out lap and then your hot lap. Doesn't matter when you go out of the pits, you just need to make sure you have enough time. And we are seeing a traffic jam Now, going through what is turns 8 through to 10, you can see a lot of drivers just trying to make themselves known there on the track map. We're currently following Soribo, who will be first across the line. I'm going to say it's not really much of an unpredictability who is going to be out in this session. I'm thinking either both Alpines of Soribo and Kwan, and also both Kick Salbers, but of course, it is the top 15 that will go through. So my bets are it's going to be the driver we're looking at right now, Sergeant Devsey, and Falco Warrior. We will say goodbye to... Well, then again, you throw Skid Solo into that, as Bavish has obviously retired. So I do need to say that as well. Danger David and Bavish cannot take part in this because they are in Division 1 and they will start from the back. So actually, that's two of them. That's two of my predictions kind of thrown out the window. So I'm actually going to go with Soribo and Skid Solo with Bavish. Well, no. Nope, my maths is all wrong, so I'm just going to say Skid Solo. There we go, we're just going to get that pain out the way. We're going to see Soribo to the line any moment now. He will set... this isn't going to be a good time at all, I don't think. That's a 1:28.956 there to start things off, Herman.
Yeah, I've been looking at who got out the latest, and it is in fact Quincy. And I have to say, I think that is going to be tight. He crossed the line with 14 minutes to go, and this lap is... around 1:24, if you can do the lap time he did yesterday. Like, he was right on the margin. If something is in his way, he has to slide oversteer, understeer, washes wide, but keeps it valid, then he might be at the brink of being disqualified. And that is obviously something we don't want to be seeing. And yeah, there could be another fatal error here if he doesn't get this right. And there's a car in front of him, and that is the second Alpine. And we will need to see if that is enough, as more drivers are crossing the line now. Obviously, we're keeping an eye on Snake, but there are just a couple of corners for Quincy and the car in front of him. Traxxer goes to first. That is not relevant to us, as all of the other drivers just need to complete a lap time. And because of these very annoying yellow flags, I can't see what the timer is saying for Quincy, so I'm just hoping he makes it in time. He's over the line, but I couldn't see the time.
Nope, I couldn't
either.
either.
Thank you, Masters, for that. I've been an issue for 3 years now on the roll. I don't know whether it's so hard to code, but yeah, we just have to guess if that is enough. And Falco Warrior is indeed out. So Serbo was fast enough to complete a run into the top 15, but Falco Warrior was made a recent return with the Kota and Mexico race. Is out alongside our two Division 1 racers who've been, as you said, need to comply to getting out of qualifying, as their pace should bring them into a great position. And we obviously don't know what the weather is. It's always dynamic for this season, despite us having mandatory wet or full wet qualifying sessions. And yeah, let's see. Maybe we can get some info. I will try to check in the Discord while we wait for the next session.
Absolutely. I'm just going to compare the times from last night because I'm trying to see if Pleasant Stake has already battered that time. But Quincy wasn't too far away there, so that's going to be a nice starting point. About two and a bit tenths away from Pleasant Snake. Just bearing in mind, just to give you an idea of where Trugster was when he qualified second to Pleasant Snake last week. He was 4.5 tenths down. So already Quincy's in that ballpark, and that's going to be very important for him. He might not necessarily want to beat Pleasant Snake in qualifying, but I think he'll just want to be in and around that ballpark, under that 3 tenths mark. That'll give you a good chance, because the 2 DRS zones down the... Well, no, not one down the... No, there is one down the start for this straight, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then you get that second one. And if you're only losing about 2.5 tenths, well, you've kind of covered off most of those tenths in the DRS zones. So that will give him a slice of confidence. But obviously, mandatory wet qualifying, it will be different in the dry. And maybe Pleasant Snake might have more pace on there. So, of course, some unknowns there as well. But we're just waiting for Falco Warrior to fully put it in the garage. And we'll be moving on to qualifying too. So the drivers we say goodbye to, it is the one we have just been watching come into the pits, Falco Warrior, followed by Danger David and Bavish. But, of course, Bavish and Danger David setting no laps at all because they are from Division 1 and they must start from the back. And I was just thinking about Bavish today, right, just before we were just getting started on the broadcast, Herman. You know, he's had 2 bad results in Division 1, right? And now he's come into Division 2 as a reserve. this one is going to be an important one for his qualifying because remember, he's also in a championship push in Division 1, and obviously you have some kind of experience with that. So can you perhaps talk through Bavish's kind of expectations on himself and maybe just, like, from us in general?
I want to give a quick update on what we've just been talking about. Quincy, 2 seconds on the clock, which is just on the dot, but you have to say this is the biggest opportunity you can have in terms of making the best out of the track evolution, because as we had in Kota, unfortunately, the game suggests inter tires, so there is quite a big track evolution into Q3, and there will be a point where obviously with less drivers going to be way better to manage, but you still have to get it right. And then obviously Quincy and Pleasant Snake don't want to block each other way. So this is the most strategic thing that can happen now with Quincy going out. Maybe latest, second latest, just completing that lap, getting into the groove, feeling what the track conditions might be, because the track is always ramping up. And if Pleasant Snake doesn't get it right, is out too early in Q3, then that could be an opportunity for Quincy. Going back to Bavish, I think Bavish has one main advantage with that, and Rush and I currently, or at least I can't, because I rather be in a commentary booth. If you have a bad race, you usually just want the next one to happen as soon as possible. So you get the last one out of your system, you can focus on the next one, and usually with our cycle we have 7 days in between, but now today there's just after that another opportunity to correct mistakes and get your confidence up again, because obviously if you have bad luck on the reverse grid, sometimes that is out of your hands, and could have been also a wet race where he just couldn't get by on anything, then has a crash somewhere else in the race. We don't know, but usually you would think that there is the less time there's in between two races, the better for your mental, and especially if you have some learnings you want to try to convert into a better result. Obviously that big hit and probably being at the back is obviously more achievable here to avoid that basically. So this is good for the mental to do another race straight after that has also some like meaning to it. Just don't go straight into practicing for the next track, but just try to reiterate what you learned and also what worked good for you, to see if you kind of understood the problem, if there was anything on your driving side. Because for me, I know I would look at the braking and obviously the setup again, if I could do this race again and it would be in the dry, because I wasn't able to get by on the straights, and although I think I was in a ballpark for low downforce, there's still something I missed apparently, and people just got by on me and basically I couldn't pass. So Bavish has the opportunity to mental reset easily just within 24 hours, and I think he needs that opportunity in order to get 2 bad races now out of the system, especially with that 1 extra week of break we had between now and Mexico. So that is especially tough, but if you can do Division 2 races, I always would recommend, even if you start at the back all of the time.
With that, we move on to...
Kwon is out on Inters. Yikes.
Uh-oh, he's in trouble. Off to the treehouse he will go. As we are now observing Energetic here, and actually some drivers have gone out. Rolly is also on intermediates, as well as Pleasant Snake. Ay.
No.
Salvi as well, who did an exceptional lap in qualifying. He's trying to get it back on. In fact, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers on an intermediate tire, but we have to say goodbye to 5 of them. Energetic has obviously read the memo, and Ibo and Quan has retired from the session, so he obviously saw what...
There's a different telling on my screen. Like, there was only Quan on my screen. Why do you have more people on your end?
Oh, it's updated.
What?
It's
Okay.
just updated
Thank
now.
God.
Okay.
Or maybe you were on the... I don't know. Sometimes if you don't have a lap time, the
Energetic's into the pits.
on. Yeah, okay, that's bad.
So he will not set a time. He went into tonight 3rd place in the championship, needing a good qualifying. And that is not going to be good news bears for him. Devsy is first across the line in that regard. and he will set a 125.1. Will he stay in qualifying 2 and go through to qualifying 3? Well, Tabran says he might be in a bit of trouble. He sets a 123.7. That might be Tabran through, but again, the bud times will be faster. Race chase now to the line, 124.0 for him. Moksha next, fastest of them all so far. Salvi with a 122.4. Looks like he's found a mojo after a couple of... found his mojo, beg your pardon, after a couple of bad races. Rolly as well. And now, just to let you know, of course, I must have been a slow update on my tower as ADS into the pits as well. ADS will also not finish this lap as Toby, who has set a lap, has retired. So we've already said goodbye to Energetic, Quan, and ADS there, as that is Pleasant Sake to the line with a 121.7, as Truckster with a 122. And now Quincy to the line. He will be in that ballpark again, but this time it's nearly half a second, Herman. That gap is increasing session by session.
Yeah, people made it through because they set a time. 5 people didn't set a time. I'm surprised why Energetic and the rest didn't do it. But the invalid, we sure don't know. So, yeah, only Quan needed to abandon that because you can't go in, change tires, and go out again. You don't have enough time for that. So, yeah, surprising. I have to say, ADS a bit sad for that because Constructors Championship needs both Ferraris because Pleasant Snake has the biggest advantage if he scores P1s to Quincy's P2s all the time, which we also didn't have for Mexico. So, yeah, the 5 extra points every time you need ADS to be there. Currently, that is somewhere around 3 to 2 points, I think, on our current point scoring system. That is not good enough, and obviously he has some faster drivers behind. And we already lost them with Energetic and into Q1 with David and Bevish needing to retire. So some people ahead, obviously assuming it's dry, I think you should be faster, but if you can't get by, if you have damage, extra pit stop, yeah, you put yourself in a troublesome position right now. Silver goes back in the pit lane. I have to say, Quincy's lap didn't look that hooked up, but I think overall, the opportunity is still there, and he has timed it right so far. So I would assume he will try to do that again into Q3, and yeah, let's see if he can challenge Pleasant Snake because it's tight after him, P2 to P4 at the moment downwards. But yeah, a 4-10 gap is still something, and you need to have perfect execution here to make things work, and obviously you use all of your ERS on the straights, which don't enable that doesn't enable you to do something different. All of the drivers will probably burn the battery there, and then it's mostly the exits in that infield, and if you get that right all of the time, you will be in a good position. Let's see if that is the case. I also saw trucks are very close to the second Alpine of Sir Ibo on the main straight. So, yeah, traffic will be less of a factor now. So it's a straight out fight for the top spot. And let's see if we can see an upset here.
I might need to owe an apology to Energetic. He's just gone and put in the chat what memo, so I hope I didn't influence him to go into the pits there, but I saw on my graphic at the time that you had intermediate tires when you in fact did not. You in fact had full wet tires. So I'm not sure if I caused that. Yes, you did. Yeah, no. So unfortunately, my graphic said that you had intermediates at the time, and it didn't bother to update. I had to refresh it by flicking through. So I don't know if that's why you pitted into the But don't mind it too much. He says so. Okay, then. Apparently there was something else. I just want curious, Energetic, when you can, if you can tell us why you pitted. If you have any insight on that. But one of the shocks that I didn't expect to make it through, Herman, Sergeant Devsey got it into 10th after skid solo. Could not break through in that Aston Martin. So there we go. So one of the shocks there. And Energetic says he caused too much trouble on track, so he just felt it was best to pit it in, Herman.
I think also Toby is a strong shot. Like, we have not seen him really up inside of this division in any like top 10 position. Has always had some contact or pole race, and this position is good. Like, being in the top 10, you sometimes have more advantages. You obviously have to navigate through less people ahead. And P10 at the 20 driver field would be obviously the halfway mark, but that is way less of the quote-unquote more dangerous zone, because of the currently lower midfield to back markers in this division are still at some times obviously on tough race starts an extra danger to your front wing, and obviously having an extra pit stop. And I think there is now an opportunity to get a clean lap in, be as late as you can because there's less traffic, and then try to seize the opportunity and just make sure you keep it clean into turn 1 to turn 4. And yeah, with now only 12 minutes on the clock, we obviously need to see drivers complete their lap by minute 7. We have currently Devsy in first position track-wise, and that is closely followed by Race Chase. So they are not waiting around. They rather get this one as safely in as they can, as Race Chase is also opening up again. And once again, the only driver who's waiting is Quincy, and on the dot for the 10-minute mark, he is released from the pit lane into the fast lane. And now let's see if he can challenge Pleasant Snake. Would be obviously nice if you can look at these two in a comparison. Maybe you see what Pleasant Snake is possible can do inside of the first 2 sectors. Because now the first ones have already started, and now it's crunch time here in Brazil. And T-Bone is very wide out of the first 3 turns. Senna, as it's called, onto the back straight basically for the second DRS zone. That is obviously not available in these conditions. And yeah, the 4th car will be Truckster after that, I think. No, that's Toby, and he invalidated it just as I was talking about chances. So yeah, P10 maybe for him. Let's see.
I was just observing Sergeant Devsy. He's just going through the lap at the moment. He's just gone through turn 10, which they call Cotavello, and he is just now on the downhill, finishing off his lap. A few people ahead of him just on their outlaps, but they are timing this very, very, very close. Yet again, they will have probably about 20 or 10 more seconds in hand than Quincy did. 2 seconds, as you said earlier on, Herman. But let's see what Devsy can do. He will be the gauntlet that everybody sets. He will have a generous amount of time to go down the straight, finish his lap, and here we go. Let's see where he is. A 1:24.8. Not the best time in the world, because Race Chase instantly beats that 1:22.9 for him. Ferrari of Quincy there starts his flying lap in the background. So Tabran will be next across the line here from 3rd to 2nd place for now. It's either Toby or Trugs next across the line, but Toby has invalidated, so it will now be the Williams of Moksha, maybe? Yes, it is. So it will be Toby straight into the pit lane after invalidating not too long ago. And now through the turn 14 he goes. Then this kink of 15 to the start-finish straight. Moksha goes, and that is top of the timing boards for now. What does Salvi have in store? He's been posting some good times throughout the evening in qualifying, and it's even better. That is a lot of the drivers beaten. It is now Pleasant Snake 20 points ahead of Quincy going into this evening. Quincy is one of the last across the line as Salvi retires, because obviously just trying to get things moving once we get into the race. 36 laps to come here in Interlagos, but who will be on pole? It's going to be Pleasant Snake, who will be contending a 1:21.7 even, beg your pardon. No, that wasn't correct initially. And it is going to be, I think, Quincy, yeah, one of the last across the line. I can't see where the timing stands at the moment due to Codemaster's coding, which has already been moaned at by Herman tonight. And Devsy is going to start at the minimum 9th place, maybe 9th, but it is Quincy. Oh, he is not even close. That is 0.6 of a second, and that is going to really hurt. And now there's 2 cars between him and his championship rival, and Trugster hoping to do a better job than he did last week in Mexico. And we'll see what happens, but Trugster closest to Snake for the time being.
Yeah, obviously close again on the timing. When Quincy crossed the line, I was like, assuming you would do a 20:24 at least. There was still like 2 or 3 seconds only left. So yeah, got the timing right, but the lap was the worst out of these. So the gap has increased. 6 tenths to Pleasant Snake opened the opportunity to have our most talked newcomer of the season, Salvi, into P3, and Toxa. Yeah, obviously, once again, good at qualifying. Just don't know if that is going to be holding a suit in race pace. We've talked about him quite a lot, and he has been recently moving inside of the season, or at the start of the season, back to cockpit camera, and some of these issues we were having, for example, in Kota. You told me about that there was troublesome in terms of view for track limits and track limit penalties. So let's see if he can keep it clean in the NS.
Absolutely. And well, rounding out your top 10 to start the race, it'll be Pleasant Snake, Trugster, Salvi, rounding out your top 3 with 4th and 5th respectfully taken by Quincy and Moksha. 6th to 10th is Rowley, Race Chase to Bran, Sergeant Devsey, and without a time due to invalidated lap in that qualifying 3, it is Toby who rounds out your top 10. And now we take a few minutes and we will begin mine and Herman's very fun prediction game. And, well, we'll see what predictions you come up with. Herman, why don't you go first on this one?
Yeah, so dry start it seems. Let's see how long that's gonna be lasting because it's very overcast. Yeah, I'm thinking Snake, especially in Brazil, has been so strong throughout the last couple of games. Yeah, I don't see anyone beating him. I can maybe see a bad time safety car where he maybe on a less optimal strategy still pull through. So yeah, something needs to be thrown at him basically to get him out. I'm going with Quincy for a second because of consistency, not only because of his results, but I feel he has the upper hand on Salvi and Truxer. I'm gonna go Truxer third, Salvi down to fourth then, and I want to see maybe not the top drive, but a good drive from Danger David.
Okay, so here is my prediction for you. I am going to say Truxter is going to win this race. I think he would really want to repay the favor after what happened in Mexico. He made that mistake and was one of the closer contenders to Snake. And in qualifying 3, as the track evolved, it just looked like Truxter was going to be the one who actually competed with Snake. So I'm going to go for him. I will say Quincy second. I'll also say Pleasant Snake will get a rare third place. It'll be his second one this season. And then for fourth, I'm going to say Bavish. And then for fifth, I'm going to say Danger David.
All right. Yeah, for the continued excitement for the championship, I would also like a Snake DNF, but I don't wish any harm on the driver. So yeah, let's see. I'm interested to see if any of these drivers feel stronger about the 2-stop, because inside of this first half of the year, you can say of this game, Brazil has been tending to go for the 1-stop in terms of the best strategy, but the tires are really taking a beating, especially the rears and the rear right. So if you don't have a setup that is good on your tires, then I feel like people are scared to lose their tire maybe to a puncture. So I can see maybe the bottom 8, maybe P12 to P20, maybe going for a 2-stop strategy to make sure that they feel the most comfortable, because sometimes if you want to beat the drivers around you, and obviously regarding your skill level, you just want to make sure that you can be in the most comfortable position, and only the drivers at the front use the uncomfortable 1-stop. But if weather is in play, we don't know anything, so let's see what's in play. And David is on a soft as the only driver in the field.
Here we go then. Let's see who... Well, for those that have just joined, let's run through your grid one last time. Of course, pole position for what is the 5th time in a row. It is Pleasant Snake with Trugster in 2nd place like he was last week. And, well, obviously suffered that mistake early on in that first stint. which brought him down to 7th. Salvi now in 3rd place, really on fire in qualifying. Can he keep it there? Not in my predictions. He may not. Quincy looking for his 6th second place in a row. Consistency will pay, but you just feel for his championship needs to find the top step. Moksha in 5th place, Rolly in 7th, Race Chase in Rolly in 6th, beg your pardon. Race Chase is 7th. 8th is Tabran. Devsy with a surprise 9th place qualifying. Toby in 10th. Skid Solo in 11th with ADS following in 12th, needing to get some points here for the Ferraris here, who are 10 points behind the Astons in the Constructors. Sir Ibo and Kwan in the Alpines round out 13th and 14th respectively. Energetic, not setting a time in qualifying 2, finds himself down in 15th. 16th is Falcor Warrior. Danger David, as Herman said, the only driver on those soft tyres. And Bavish were looking to try and find some confidence after 2 bad races in Division 1 here in Division 2 to just get some sort of something, or just a bit of mojo here to try and take the championship going forward to the next half of the season in Division 1. But at the moment, Pleasant Snake is the one to watch out for. He has a 20-point lead over Quincy as we go into the halfway point. 3 drivers behind there. Falco Warrior holding up Bavish and David behind him, and he's just taking his time to get to the grid. Tyres will be cooling down, but any moment now we will see the countdown. Bavish has had to stop there. He's in the Racing Bulls tonight. He takes the Williams. Says, what is that McLaren doing off to Bran? He has really gone on an alternative line. We've got to wait for him to line up, and then we'll be underway. And here we go. Countdown will be happening any moment now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. It's go in Brazil. Bit of a longer hold there, but I think Trugster was the one who got away better. And at the moment, they're going to be side by side as there's a few swaps happening in the midfield. But Pleasant Snake, again, with the overall better start on traction, but not the quickest reaction time. He keeps the lead. As now Trugster going to have to just follow him behind. Toby battling with Devsy for 10th place. So ADS up 2 as well. And now Pleasant Snake feeling the pressure of Trugster as Quincy's trying to go to the inside of Salvi. It's turn 4. This could be the move for his championship and for the Grand Prix. He gets that done very nicely indeed. So Salvi already down 1. And now looking at his championship leader with only 1 car between them as Devsy and Kwan having a little battle for 11th place. But Kwan unable to get the move done. And at the moment it seems all fair and square as now Skid Solo trying to go down the inside of Kwan. But then there's Bavish here who's up a few positions as Skid Solo also now finally trying to get that move done on Kwan. And he might be able to get that done into 10. He gets it done and there's Bavish in there also trying to get to 13th. But it all settles down for now. But at the moment, Pleasant Snake with a good start there. 6/10 in front as we go onto lap 2, Herman.
And there's been just a contact between both the Mercedes cars into Jiang South. Front left end plate gone by David, who just missed his braking point into turn 1. Got the better start out of the 4 last drivers on the grid, and then just completely had to cut the center S on the outside. Leclerc had to park up on Sunday, and now he has been compromised a bit. Most of these turns are left-hand turns, so you don't lose that much of downforce, but that has not been the start of David, or what have you seen inside of some of these races for Division 2, as he's taken the reserve seat, and Rolly is into 4th position, taking Salvi into turn 4 again, and now Moksha gets by as well, as both of the Williams make their way through. T-Bran on the outside as well into turn 8, there's contact. Can they make it through unscathed? Looks good. Inside line for T-Bran for 9 again, outside for Salvi. Turns to the inside of 10 again, and you want that to be having as T-Bran locks up the rears and goes extremely wide and does a slight Sao Paulo drift into that turn, and Salvi keeps 6th position for now, as the McLaren will try to hunt him down again, and the top 4 are running away with now Rolly inside of the DRS of Quincy as well.
Absolutely, and well, also I'm just looking at Bavish getting past Skid Solo at last. He was in a very similar situation last night where he had to fight where he didn't want to. He in the end finished in Division 1 in 11th place last night, hoping for better as now Danger David making a move on Skid Solo down the inside into turn 1, but that aerodynamic disadvantage really costing him mid-corner performance. He gets past despite that, and now Sergeant Devsy looking at the back of the Aston Martin as well. He's going to be up into 13th place. Non-stop action up and down and field here at Interlagos. We love this track. It is an absolute classic. And, well, Pleasant's Sake not being allowed to get away. Back to this battle for the lead, which is turning into something spectacular. And Rowley might be with this very, very soon. He needs to be within DRS at the detection point, which is at turn 13, which is on the exit of Juncal. And, well, he'll not got too much longer to find out. And, yep, I think this is going to be a 4-car battle for the lead. But will anything change? Or is Truckster just going to keep himself at arm's length and save his tyres? Half a second as they start, as they will start, lap 4 out of 36 on board with the Red Bull driver, half his battery, but now he is deploying it. Quincy took the fastest lap. Now Snake takes the middle of the road, going around the outside is Truckster, but Snake just allowing himself just maybe an inch of performance by taking the middle of the road. Smart defending there from the current championship leader as Skid Solo and Devsy swap in the background for 13th place as well. Truckster again gaining and gaining, but turn 4 there just isn't enough straight there for Truckster to get alongside the Aston Martin, and for now we'll have to just save his save for a better time at the moment. But Rowley also being checked out from this group as well, as Bavish also getting his way up into 10th place, but the Red Bull fighting back as they're going to go side by side through 5 and 6. 6 and 7, beg your pardon, and then into 8. And, well, yeah, that's Bavish up in 10th place, having a good race of things so far. And, well, unlike last night, he has found the upper hand as now, well, we're only a few moments away from beginning lap 5. The laps just ticking by faster and, well, going by very fast here, Herman, don't they?
Yeah, that was a nice attempt into turn 4 already on Bavish, as I was watching that from some corners back on the last lap already. But, yeah, Toby could stay only just a couple of corners more ahead, but he has currently occupied the position where I think he would be, and that is 11th place. And there's a freeway fight almost into turn 1 with T-Band now taking Race Chase 6th position away, as Salvias continue to drop down, currently in 8th position, and also ADS looks racy, very close to the rear wing of the Haas, as they are battling in front of us as well. Can't do anything about it, but Race Chase is taking back that 6th position, that double DRS back to back basically. If you get a good enough traction zone out of turn 3, you are able to pounce on the driver ahead and make direct counter attack to what you've experienced before. Now ADS is trying to stay with them, locks up and does the Herman from yesterday, gets onto the blue stuff and is off the road, causing a brief yellow flag, but continues as he's now trying to get the rears back into temperature range, because they are going to be lighting up in terms of the heat very fast here, as there's more trouble coming his way in terms of Devsy, Skid Solo and Energetic, who hasn't found his way past all of these guys. And Falco Warrior spins out of turn 10 at that stage in the background as well, as the top 2 fight again. There's an outside move maybe for Truckster into turn 1, goes deep on the outside. Quincy maybe lines this up with a switchback. There's the S for all of them. Behind Pleasant Snake, he's using that battery already. The Ferrari has an opportunity to get by on the Red Bull. There's a lot of slipstream coming his way, but he doesn't seem to be eager to get by on this lap. Just stay behind, save a bit of the tires, save a bit of the battery, because you just want to get away and open up a perfect pit stop opportunity later down the line, when we have probably pit stops coming around lap 14 to 16, and then you want to be in that nice sweet spot we can see in our track map between turns 6 and 7, that is where the group of cars now currently behind ADS are currently looking to make life difficult for all of them. And yeah, I'm surprised to see that Energetic hasn't found a way past on these guys, still in 14th position. Was looking so great yesterday, and unfortunately contact with Ryan, and he was sent off at turn 4. Now he's only 14th. I wonder what's happening. It doesn't seem to have damage, as we go again for the top 3.
Yep, here we go. Truckster will go to the outside for the third time in a row. 3 laps and he can't make it work, but now he's trying to set up for the over-under, but it just looks like Pleasant State got that run this time. Can Quincy make this work? He wasn't able to do so last time out. He's not close enough again. Truckster has that straight line speed as Energetic also makes a move past Sergeant Devsy. So that top 3 battle will stay as it is for now. And now Skid Solo and Devsy are fighting as well. And that's going to allow Quan to get into all this mild contact between the Alpine and the Kick Sauber. And now the Aston Martin, despite having DRS, Quan seems to have more in battery, gets past the both of them. And that is Quan, an impressive move from 16 to 14, but messes up turn 4. And he's going to get himself back on track. And he will soon find himself, well, he will secure 14th for now, but it looks like Skid Solo is feeling racy with the Alpine in front of him. Sorebo has retired in the pit lane, or so it would seem, so he's not taking any further part in this Grand Prix. I think, yeah, that is a pit lane retirement, so he's not going to take no intervention required from virtual race control. But let's go back to this battle for a second, because look at how close Quincy is to the back of the Red Bull. But does the Red Bull have more in straight line pace? It has proven to be that way, but there's a yellow flag here into turn 1. Careful, I don't think there'll be any overtaking allowed, so they'll have to just kind of set up shop for now, as Danger David with a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And same issue again, the battle is called off because we have that Aston Martin. This is awkward. Well, sorry, we have the Red Bull there, beg your pardon. No, goodness me.
Alpine.
Alpine, thank you. As we have the Alpine parked up there, but...
oh, no!
Oh, no! Tambrana's crashed into it! Yeah,
oh my god!
That is a dramatic crash, and, well, we had a prediction in chat that the McLaren was going to dominate. It has crashed on lap 8 out of 36. Safety car deployed, and we are now stopping the race as it was. But that was an exciting top field battle. But Tabran going into the back of the retired Alpine, and surely now, well, we're gonna have to, well, you can't really do anything about that either, Herman. That is kind of one of the annoying quirks of the game. Even if you do ghost the cars,
yeah,
that's kind
unfortunately.
That's a problem. And there we go. We haven't had any situation, but you know, these things will happen if you don't sort them out, and we've seen it happen here, Herman. That is, you've got to be honest here, a little unacceptable.
Yeah, it has been a problem for quite a while. You obviously, as an admin here and also as an owner of a league myself, you want the drivers, if they don't want to continue to retire in the pits, because that is the safest way to do. If you retire on track, either by accident or by like literally accident in terms of crashing into a wall, and not wanting to continue the race, you always put basically a 50-50 gamble on if the game will call a safety car, and then you heavily influence the rest of the race, as currently everyone is trying to get a free pit stop out of this. That is going to be a long stretch for the Hearts. I think we're looking at a 2-stop now, because yeah, I think the earliest you can do is lap 14, where like 6 laps before that, even with the 2 safety car laps coming up. So another open letter to Codemasters, please fix this. Have an opportunity, if you are inside your pit box stationary, go to pause menu, have like a quick button, you maybe need to hold for 3 seconds and then say retire in the pits, and the car just stays there, does not do the pit stop animation. Keep it there. We don't want these things to happen, because the race has now been heavily influenced. We see something interesting, obviously, because safety car always mixes up everything, and with the strategy I just mentioned. But you don't want that to be happening to your field, because someone couldn't see it coming. And I think with how close the field was around T-Brand, we saw that battle with Moksha Race Chase Salvi. I think he just was trying to pull out of a slipstream, and then obviously it was way too late on that straight. You may be lining up an overtaking opportunity. Sometimes the car just peels off after the first opportunity into these marsh areas with the orange paint on the side of the road, but you don't need that. And especially if you don't have ghosting on, which we would prefer to, because it's more consistent than having ghosting, because sometimes you get ghosted, sometimes you're not. And although that helps with lap cars, it doesn't help with this, because you just have a mobile chicane still on track, which is not operated by a driver or player, and that makes these things just so much more unfortunate, because we just lost T-Brand. Everyone has basically got the race resetted. Awesome for spectators, but for the racers, always this kind of annoying things that get stacked over the years on top, and we don't want to see that. So please, Codemasters, do something about this. And let's see what the rest of the race brings, as we have Bavish on soft tires, Rowley, and Sergeant Dempsey, as well as Danger David onto medium. So I'm not so sure why the soft was picked by him in the first place, because it doesn't seem like there's weather influencing this race anytime soon. So maybe just wanted that extra grip at the start to get some positions. But unfortunately, he's last of the current runners.
I was just going to say, Herman, you know, we were, although it's good for the spectators, we were having a good race already. Like, you know, we had the top three close together. We had 5 cars battling one another in the background. Then for another 3-car battle. So there was just natural battles coming around. This just wasn't necessary. You know, we could have avoided all of this and still had a very naturally... like a natural outcome to the race. But yeah, like, you know, to quote a famous world champion, this race has been manipulated, man. And that's just kind of like, you know, it's no one's fault. Like, you know, I'm not trying to blame the league or anything. It's I'm blaming the developers of the game, to be more frank, or EA to be more specific. Like, you know, this is just not something that needed to happen. And I don't like, no one in the league is to blame. It's just the people at the top, unfortunately. But the situation we've been given means that we are now under safety car conditions. We've been so for the past 2 or 3 laps. We will be underway at the end of this one. So lap 12 out of 36, we will be resuming racing with 25 laps to go on the board. But yeah, so this is the situation we've been given. Everybody forced into a 2-stop, as Herman said. Although, could those hard tires get to the end? They've spent the first few laps, well, not really being pressed too hard. What do you think, Herman?
Yeah, I think my initial feeling is that it's gonna be rough. Like, I think you're gonna be looking at a rear right puncture rather soon, because like these drivers, especially at the front now, Rowley is in a prime opportunity, or prime position now to split the field basically, and like get inside of these positions where then other drivers can get away. But if you're really trying to nail these exits, especially out of Jiangzhou and the center, as you're using that rear tire a lot, and then that means with these extra laps, even the 2 safety car laps, it's gonna be tough, because my earliest was 14, and I still had like 75, which is puncture territory after that. So an extra 4 laps is gonna be tough. But let's see the race out for Pleasant Snake now.
Absolutely. Can you hear me, Herman? Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Brilliant. Okay, because I just had some problem with my wire, but I fixed it, so there we go. Let's see what Pleasant State can do on this restart. And there you go, he's underway, and it just was at the pit lane entry. But now Truckster and Quincy need to stay within the DRS. Quincy breaks from the slipstream to save tyre temperature, and he is now going well, as Bavish has already started making moves down the inside of Salvi into turn 1 for 7th place, and on the exit of the center S gets it done. But of course, those soft tyres will be good for these first few laps. But at the moment, look at Truckster getting oh so close to Snake. He is really keeping it between the white lines. And also, Danger David in the background as well, making a move on Dempsey. And battles happening up and down the field, so it is hard to just focus on one driver for the time being. But Banish is going to be incredibly racy. Danger David as well, also making up a place, again, 13th. For him, and well, Pleasant State trying to leave both Quincy and Truckster behind, but not having an easy time of it. He is not dominating around here like we're used to seeing him, so this win might not come so easily. Look at Barris to the inside though, my goodness me, and that was at turn 10. An optimistic dive, he's got it done, and Danger David might have done something similar, because he's gone around the outside of turn 11. That might have started at turn 10 though, but he's making his way, carving the field. And now, well, Truckster and Quincy have not let Pleasant State go, but also Rowley is right there with these 3 drivers, I should say. He makes up the 4th of this pack, and Pleasant State forced into defense again. Quincy and Rowley battling into turn 1, and Quincy, and there's contact between them, little bit, but nothing too bad, as that Rowley will have maybe lost a little opportunity for Quincy, but they both have DRS, so they might not lose out as much. But Truckster snapping on the heels of Pleasant Snake and Herman. Isn't this exciting to watch?
Yeah, I'm surprised how well the others have stayed with Pleasant Snake, because I was expecting him to really dominate. David just caught everyone napping, like Devsy, Falco Warrior, Pleasant Snake. He just, sorry, Skid Solo. wrong Aston Martin. He just caught the napping. Every exit was just better with these medium tires and just went for it. And also, yeah, you caught that one right. He lined up at that turn 11 move last lap with the start into turn 10. So yeah, quite similar. And Bevish, yeah, looking very good. Like I think it was starting the race or the safety car restart in 11th or something. So that is very fast and very quick on these medium tires. And he has obviously still the option probably to go to another medium or hard undercut if he wants to. So David is going by an energetic, who's his reserve teammate basically for today. No Tarantino in the car. And yeah, he's into 10th position already and is looking to make good use of these mediums as he's onto the back of 9th place Toby already.
Well, look at who's caught up to this as well. Race Chase, it's a 8-car battle for the lead of the race so far, all within a second of one another. Of course, Salvi and Toby have over a second to them, but Danger David and Energetic close to the back of that Red Bull, who is the only separation between these 8 drivers. But Trugster looks like he's being let go of. Rowley, of course, tried to go down the inside, well, tried to brake later than everybody else on the last lap and only lost time to the top 2 in front. And it looks like Pleasant Snake is beginning to get away because Trugster has lagged a little bit here, and he's now nearly 9.5 tenths back and now over a second. And Pleasant Snake now will not be under any pressure at all as we go on to lap 15 out of 36 once they reach the start finish line. Maybe the hards not working well for Trugster as they are for Pleasant Snake, but also fastest lap of 1:10.667 as Danger David finally makes his move past Toby, as does Energetic. So crucial moves for both their races. And well, maybe Danger David will just let Energetic through potentially. I mean, for Energetic's sake, of course, he's outside of that championship frame, but also in the championship frame. We're looking at Quincy to the inside. I think he's realized the situation and trying to get past Rowley, but no success there in turn 4. He will just have to wait by this time again for another lap. But of course, the more time he does, the more time he waits, the more time that allows Pleasant Snake to get away from that pack. And Quincy again trying to really put that Williams under pressure in front, but just nothing happening for him as of right now. He's using the battery briefly as he comes out of turn 9 through into turn 10, but now Rowley is even looking to be outside that window very soon if he doesn't get a hurry up on. And now Bavish is right behind them, of course, remember, on soft tires, so Quincy might have a bit more pressure as now Rowley is outside the DRS zone of Trugster as the Moksha has had a mistake there. Don't know what happened to him. Might have just slid on the exit, but that's going to give David a really good opportunity. And now Quincy's going to have a great opportunity to go to the inside for 3rd place. Needs to get this done, and he's got it done, as does Danger David. And one Williams is overtaken, the other is also overtaken, but Moksha fighting back on the outside there through the center S. But Quincy will have another burst of DRS. No, he won't, because he wasn't at the detection point. And, well, at least behind the Williams. And now that allows Bavish to go through. He locks up. And that is wide there from Bavish. Quincy will do the over-under. And that is all secured for now. But does Bavish have anything to fight back? We've seen him overtake a couple of drivers up this hill, but not this time through 6 and 7. Quincy will hold on to that place. But Quincy now must be feeling the pressure, Herman.
Yeah, that was certainly now the time to get something done, and Truckster is close back in. I checked ERS very low for both of them, so yeah, that is currently only their true race paces. There's the first 3-second time penalty for track limit warnings in the hands of Skid Solo, who is currently last of the running cars, the only one to not get a point. I have to say, maybe something in terms of Energetic, also the safety car helped him, because some of these drivers who are currently behind him have a faster driver in front of him, so maybe between the pit stops and the double stacking, and since there's no unsafe release for us, you're gonna get held up. So Energetic has found some pace now and is obviously no longer stuck behind slower quote-unquote drivers for this one, as he's currently P3 in the Drivers' Championship, and is trying to hang on to Moksha, is looking for that move into turn 4. Quite late on the brakes, Moksha is leaving him the space, and now the Mercedes is trying to get through all of the ERSs used here currently in his battery charge, and goes to the outside of the uphill double right-hander and completes the move. Very nice racing between Moksha and Energetic. You need 2 drivers to have racing like this, and obviously complying to that, and they have done very well executed by energetic there. Has lost the Astrakhan front and is trying to get that back. But yeah, nice move around the outside there inside of the infield.
Absolutely there. And there's just a bunch of nice moves happening as well on and around the place. But now Babish, it looks like his charge is coming to a complete stop as of right now. Remember, on soft tires, as ADS also gets past Toby for 11th place there. That's crucial points for the Ferrari team. Skid Solo without a point, so ADS needs to make use of this. Ferrari beginning tonight 10 points behind Aston Martin in second place. And, well, if Truxter could do something to Aston Martin as well and take that win away from Snake, who of course goes into tonight leading by 20 points, that would mean the world to him. But then as soon as I say that, Skid Solo makes a move down the inside for 15th place. Sergeant Devsy also following suit with a track limits penalty to Skid Solo. So that's 2 drivers for the evening so far. That's now the Kick-Sauber. Salvi now is your 3rd one. So they are falling like dominoes there in the Kick-Sauber, and Aston fighting very hard indeed. The Kick-Sauber backs out of it, and he's actually made a mistake. Falcor Warrior had to fully stop there as he made some sort of error that I didn't see, and now Skid Solo even got past the other Kick-Sauber, and now this is all sorts of stuff happening. 27 points for the Aston so far as Danger David gets past Salvi as well. It's all kicking off already. Whenever we look away from somewhere, there's something happening somewhere else. And it's just absolutely insane, but this is what we want to see. This is Interlagos for you, even in real life and in the game, providing entertaining racing up and down the field as Babish gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And we were saying, Herman was saying earlier on...
Oh no, Truxter! Truxter's gone off!
Oh no!
Truxter off in center S! And he's lost it once again!
Oh no!
Oh no!
And in all of that, Quincy is up into 2nd place. I don't mean to take it away from Truxter very briefly. That is heartbreak yet again for the English driver. He doesn't get a penalty off of that either, like a track limits penalty. But either way, heartbreak for Truxter, who was doing such a good job staying with the Aston Martin. Caution in Sector 2 for a Alpine, I think that was. That is of Kwan. Who's missing an end plate.
Yeah, he's going in. He hit the wall at the exit of 4 before 5. But yeah, that was... Oh no, he just almost hit the Piastri despite this being a dry track. So yeah, Quincy back into 2nd position again. Yeah, that's unfortunate for Truxter once again. And he has dropped down to 4th still with that train from Quincy and Rolly ahead. And Race Chase is now also enjoying that extra DS with David also looking at them sooner rather than later. Also, Bevish soft again, 16 laps. I'm not so sure if that's a mispress maybe. Would have maybe like to see medium or hard here again. So yeah, I'm not too sure if there was any opportunity left for that. But there's another spin, and that was Tiger Warrior briefly. But we are going again, so that is all cleared. And now the 2.2 second gap between top 2 in the Drivers' Championship as well in this race is currently unfolding. So let's see, 16 more laps to go. Let's see who can hang on to these tires more. Quincy had to do some battling. Snake had obviously do some pushing, so they're not going to be enjoying these tires from lap 29 onwards. And Rolly needs to pit again. And Babish has another time penalty, this time 3 seconds. So yeah, his opportunity to get better hang and remove that bad race from the feeling from yesterday isn't going anywhere right now. It's actually going more south. Still probably another pit stop to come. 12th position. Yeah, that's a tough day for him in the office, but we're still here to see the end of the race obviously. And Rolly's into the pit lane, going probably for a new tire now that will go to the end. So yeah, he wasn't too committed on that tire saving strategy. Most of them will maybe try to do. Let's see. Still a long way until the point of no return will come, but now the gaps have kind of opened up a lot. The battling us falling by the wayside, and we have an opportunity to calm a bit down.
Maybe, but this is Interlagos. Anything will kick off at any moment. It doesn't matter how calm this is. Brazil always finds a way to spice up your life in your racing, and we will maybe seeing that gonna happen yet again. And Quincy now just kind of evening out at that 2 seconds. I do think he's actually got the pace to catch Pleasant State this time around. Evidently, something's going on here. He's got half his battery in tow, but goes very wide through that turn there. Saw him understeer through it. Maybe that was purposeful to get more drive on the exit, even though I think that's slightly contradicting of how these cars behave in their handling. And even Trugster hasn't really let Quincy go either. He hasn't let that mistake bog him down too much. He's still within that 1 second gap, as now Moksha is currently making his move for 6th place, but of course Salvi with that post-race
And
penalty. Go on.
Energetic is also by on him.
Yep.
Just the same move in the same straight. Let's see if Energetic has some extra battery to maybe get a move on Moksha as well. Currently the advantage is with the Williams driver, but the DS is very powerful on both of these straights. So up to 6/10 on the main and down this straight 4/10. And yeah, there is currently no opportunity, but Energetic is looking like the Energetic of yesterday even more now. Let's see if the tire life is also going in his favor. If you go by any of the previous races, he has an advantage over Moksha, because Moksha was one of the drivers, both of the Williams actually, who had a tire failure in the race for Kota. So yeah, that was not a good day in the office of Williams. At the end of the race, on the final lap, they had a puncture on both cars, and that cost them huge amount of points. And I hope they are aware of the possibility that the tire will exceed 75%, and after that you are basically in the hands of the RNG gods if you get a tire puncture or not. David is responding to that undercut from Rolly basically ahead, where he just pitted for new tires, and there's a brief yellow for, I think, Falcavori that is, yeah, but he kept it out of the wall and going again. So I'm interested to see how far Rolly is now ahead of David. It's not going to be close. The pit lane is very slow, so yeah, the Williams is up ahead, but I think overall race pace could be with David, and both on hard tires now. 2 laps difference here as we now approach the end of lap 23. Snake is still leading, and Quincy is accompanied with Truckster. Maybe there's gonna be another move coming into turn 1 on this next lap.
I would have to say, like, you know, if Truckster and Quincy want to work together, use that DRS, use that pull of the straight line speed. I know that a lot of the lap is spent in that middle section where it does get a bit twisty and windy from turns 8 all the way through to turns 12. But like, no, you have 2 DRSs, both of them are long. Quincy would do well to go into the pits, apparently, and he is in from 2nd place. So the hard tires for Quincy won't go to the end. What tire is he going to be out onto? We'll find out in a few moments' time. Pulls into the pit lane. It's another set of hard tires for the Ferrari driver. Is this going to be a Ferrari pit strategy moment, or is this going to be a strike of genius from the Tifosi driver? Let's see what he can do. He's just coming out the pit lane now ahead of Deja David as Moksha makes a move for 4th place there on Energetic. Energetic hoping to go to the end, but I don't know. I don't know if that pit stop is going to work from Quincy. But let's see if Pleasant Snake reacts. There's not too much of a lap to go for our current leader in the race and in the championship. I do believe as well, Pleasant Snake has led every single race of this, every single lap of this race up until this point, and Trugster is now over 3 seconds away. So for Quincy, this is really time to go. And actually, the undercut from Rolly as well is very powerful. If Snake is to pit and Trugster is to pit as well, they would be behind both the Williams and the Ferrari.
Yeah, and he's in. Both of them are in.
This is going to be... Sorry, Herman, I didn't mean to cut over you.
Yeah, that's the sensible thing to do. I think Rolly might take the lead now in terms of clearance after the pit stop, because he is 2 seconds ahead of Quincy, and David isn't next to Quincy right now. So that might be a huge undercut. And the dice obviously rolled by Rolly, because if you don't feel like you can do it, then just go for the aggressive strategy and don't try to wait out to a different point where maybe there's nothing left in terms of the race. And let's see if there is anything in terms of the positioning right now. And Rolly is ahead by a mile, and Quincy is very close to Pleasant Snake into that undercut frame, and he has now gotten back into the DS of the current championship leader, with Rolly having a 1.6 second gap as of right now, and he has the warmer tires compared to the Aston Martin behind. So Quincy has now the opportunity to make something out of this race and maybe take a win away. Energetic has taken the only win inside of the season, and it wasn't Pleasant Snake. That race, Snake finished in 3rd position, with Quincy, as you guessed it, 2nd place. But this just got a lot more heated, and Truckster is on the medium tires. And Kuan is off, but no damage to the car, just a spin. And we are now seeing a very feisty final stint of the race. Quincy to the outside of Pleasant Snake. Can he do it? Using all of that track width to maybe open up the inside line and the switchback for turn 2 and 3 is staying back for now. And there's another straight coming your way. There's no DS for Pleasant Snake because he wasn't close enough to Quincy. But there's no opportunity currently because he isn't using that very juicy overtake mode on the straight. He's just stayed back in none. And that is obviously good. And Truckster is going against David very soon. So, yeah, the fight for the top 5 position is on. And we have 10 and a half laps to go, David.
Absolutely. It'll be 10 and a half laps to go, as Herman said. And now, well, Race Chase could be in a very fine position here, because if these 4 can't catch up behind that have just pitted, well, then they are in all sorts of trouble here for the race win. But already, Rolly is behind Bavish, and he's got Quincy and Pleasant Snake in hot pursuit. And here we go. The DRS zones will begin. Here's the first one. Surely Rolly will make this as academic as possible. Will Bavish try and hold them up for his teammates? Bavish all the way to the inside there, not afraid to get scrappy at all. He's going to try and hold up Rolly, but Rolly massively locks up his front left, and he actually stays ahead of Rolly. And now look at Pleasant Snake as Quincy has made a mistake on into the entry of the turn. And so he's now over a second back. He's not going to have any DRS to play with, but Bavish is doing a good job of holding both of them up. Oh my goodness me, and now Pleasant Snake is alongside Rolly. Can he get alongside Bavish? Not quite. And they all stay as they were, and Quincy, well, might have the space that he needs to get back in, and there he is. The Ferrari is right back in this frame. He has been forgiven, but now he has brought along Truckster, and this battle is getting oh so intense, and Bavish is doing Race Chase a massive favor. His teammate is in the lead, but needs to hold off that charge of Energetic, who hasn't seen the podium since round 4. He missed out on it last time out in Mexico, which was a couple of weeks.
Truckster's here, the cavalry is here, David is here. It's gonna get super juicy on the main straight. Let's see who can do it. Is anyone close enough? Has anyone left anything in their tank in terms of the battery percentage? Everyone blinking on the straight, meaning they're charging the battery to the outside. Goes the Williams of Rolly to the inside again, and they contest! And big crash into turn 3! Big crash into turn 3! Almost collected. It was Pleasant Snake there, but they continue with Quincy now in the leaves. Rolly back down, and now the Aston Martin is also there on the inside. Pleasant Snake needing to seize that opportunity with Truckster now right behind us. Rolly drops down another position. What has been going on there between the Racing Bulls and the Williams into turn 2?
This race is being manipulated by Bavish, and if you want any proof of that, his teammate benefits from this big time. Who has the damage? Truckster is A-OK. Is Pleasant Snake A-OK? Yes, he is somehow. Quincy has the aerodynamic disadvantage. He has lost an end plate on his left-hand side. You can see it right there in your frame. And while Moksha and Energetic are having a swap, it's Race Chase going to take his first win here in SSRL. Energetic and Moksha swap again in the foreground, but now we are gonna see things kick up again. Quincy defends to the inside, everybody blinking. Quincy nearly making contact with the Aston Martin. He locks up into turn 1, and at the moment they're gonna side by side through turn 2. Quincy using that outside line. Here we go again. They're gonna go side by side again on the exit. He's got DRS. Pleasant Snake is in an unfamiliar fight, which he's not used to, as Truckster goes to the outside now, going side by side through turn 4. Will Truckster or Pleasant Snake have the better traction? It's even. It is even Steven, but Truckster gets through Snake, and he takes 6th place away. We don't know if this is the win, because Race Chase is going to be thinking, what on earth am I doing here? He's done nothing at all, and the American has now led the last few laps, and the Moksha and Energetic are not catching. That is oh so important to remember. And his gap is at nearly 3 seconds, but Herman, let's have, oh, David with a penalty there. Herman taken away for another part of this very exciting battle.
There is 13 seconds between the leader and P5. The group that is on that second pit stop has not caught up. We are 7 laps away and they will not stop fighting. There is Chuckster to the outside of Quincy now. There is wing damage on Quincy's left-hand side. That is obviously not good. So the contact has been had with any of these two drivers who are fighting into turn 2 just a couple of laps ago. Battery is going to be low for most of them. The rest is just going to stay behind. David is not basically in this with the time penalty. Quincy is just trying to hold on. The opportunity created by the contact with Bavish and also Rowley is now going to be very difficult as he's climbing the hill on very compromised car and obviously less downforce, and you just have that advantage of the fresher tire. But if these guys at the front, especially Race Chase, Energetic, Moksha, they just need to try to manage these the rears and the exit out of these corners, and they will be fine because there is half the amount of laps left on what is currently the gap between P4 and P1, and they are close to each other as well. I think there was even a swap because I just remember watching Energetic being in third, and now the group is just getting onto that final stretch on the main straight while Race Chase is into turn 4 now and on his way, and he needs to be very gentle to these tires, maybe sing them a good night song and just give them a good and nice clean exit every time they're asked for it, because he is in need to do that. And remember, Dave, 2 weeks ago he tried to do that as well, got a penalty only to finish in second place on the track, but moved off the podium to give Quincy another second place finish as he was fighting with Truckster again, taking 4th position off of the Red Bull driver as they climb the hill once again, and there is not going to be enough time. They have massively miscalculated this because they could not get rid of each other as soon as there was an opportunity. They just fought too much, and the tire advantage is still there by a massive long shot. 15 laps advantage between Quincy and Race Chase at the moment. But if you're not there on track when the finish line is there, you're not getting that position. And currently, none of the top 2 guys are finishing on the podium. And 9 seconds between 3rd and 4th, with the 3.5 laps to go, basically, as Truckster is lining it up again to the outside. Is there chance? There's a spot for the inside. Is this for real life? There is contact again.
Oh no!
Pleasant Snake does the PRC and now gets by on both of them as the Red Bull and also what was probably a very stricken Quincy into turn 2 because he lost all of the downforce.
Outside for the Truckster. He's gonna try it again. He did this last lap and he's trying it again, but he can't make it work. And now Quincy must be thinking, what on earth have I got to do to stay out of contact? This battle for the podium is over for these group now after all of that. And I know, Herman, you were saying about the strategy, but remember, Bavish kind of threw things up in the air, and I think that was kind of the moment that really secured it. But also, talking about the lead, there's a battle happening there as well. Energetic has closed this down. He has not been on the winner's step since round 1. He has had to settle for 3rd place for the 2 other rounds. So round 1 was his win. Round 2 and round 4, round 4, he found 4th. So in actual fact, he hasn't been on the podium since the first 2 rounds. Sorry about that. And while he's going to find the podium, but he might find the top step for the 2nd time this season only. But now we have to kind of cut back to the battle for 4th. As now Energetic is actually oh so close to the American. And well,
yeah, I'm watching that.
Okay, Herman will keep an eye on that. I'll keep an eye on this rolling battle here between Snake. This is crucial because Quincy surely is out of this. He's got so much damage, I would imagine, from 2 pieces of contact. I just think he's hanging on and doing damage limitation and just hoping a penalty could go his way later on. As Quincy squeezed into turn 1 not too long ago. But now that that gap's settled down, we've got to focus on this because this is the battle for the lead. Race Chase, I don't think, has quite enough. He is hoping just now for a podium. He will be heartbroken if he cannot convert this into a win. But if I'm being honest, it doesn't look likely. It looks like the Mercedes is just better on its tires. Now through to the DRS zone. Energetic will activate for his first opportunity. It'll be 3 laps to go. And here we go. Energetic to the inside. And Race Chase bites that round the outside. Can he? No, not really. He allows Energetic through, but that doesn't mean that this battle is over. He's going to swap over, and now Race Chase will have the DRS. Has he been saving for this moment? He's got slightly more battery, but he doesn't have the straight line speed over Energetic, and so he's lose the graphics for just a few moments. That is Energetic to the lead of the race, but that battle for fourth yet to swap Herman.
Yeah, there's now Pleasant Lake leading the chart with 5 seconds. I think one of them, maybe two of them inside of the charging group can be on the podium. Moksha isn't looking so fancy right now, but Energetic, I can tell you from some data, is 6% better on the worst tire, so that is quite a significant buff to the rear, and he is keeping them intact because he's also getting away currently on 8 to 9 tenths inside of that infield, and you have to be absolutely kidding to put these top 3 before this race start, and we are currently looking at one of the best, maybe a top 2 SSRL race even at the moment, because this is certainly something we would not expect another second game from Pleasant Snake. But there are only 2 laps left, David. 2 laps is not enough with a 4-second gap.
Nope, it is not. And here we go again. Even Pleasant Snake might not be out of the woods just yet. He is holding on to 4th place with everything he's got. And Race Chase is still in that DRS zone to Energetic. So has he just been saving those tires? Remember, it's 2 DRS zones, but it is an overall distance of 2.7 miles rounded up around this Interlagos track, which has given us so much history in real life, but it has given SSRL its best race as far as I can remember, although I say that with a pinch of salt because there's probably been other races that have been better than this one, but in terms of championship stories, oh my goodness me, there's Rowley is spun round through the center S. I think that's just the age of his soft tires for you and how quickly they wear off, but it looks like Energetic is going to have his second win. And Herman, I think you were going to say something before we were going to go on to the final lap.
I'm just still looking at the gap between Pleasant Snake and Moksha, and Moksha is very low in ES. He's currently 40. Snake has clawed something back, so I think podium is now on the cusp, maybe charts throughout the last lap. There is now 2 DRS zones basically left. He can close it in fast enough, maybe 1, and that's the biggest one. And if you have a tire advantage of 16 laps, you should think about a very good exit onto that main straight and then just push out the full DRS. If you can say something, that would be great for Moksha. Race Chase has gotten DRS once again, but is in need to keep those tires alive. We're looking at 69% now, and Moksha is at risk to lose a podium here, which was very unlikely. And you have to say Energetic has clawed 14th position to get a chance at the victory here, and he is into the final couple of corners now. This must be the most unlikeliest podium, looking at how the race pace and the quality pace has looked so far this evening for these guys. There's only basically two corners left, and I think Energetic is about to see that checkered flag first.
Absolutely. Energetic, who did not a whole lot, to be honest with you, has now going to look at his second win here in SSRL. He began in 3rd place, and this is going to mean everything, because he'll win it into Lagos while his championship contenders have suffered Race Chase with another podium. Moksha takes 3rd, Pleasant Snake in 4th, Drugster takes 5th, with Danger David 6th, Quincy, goodness me, that is not the race he would have wanted. 7th place after 2 pieces of contact, one with Rowley and Bavish's aftermath, and then of course another after going 3 wide into turn 1. ADS will take 8th, so loss of points there for the Ferrari team as well. Salvi takes 9th. Toby will take the top 10, but points go all the way down to 15th. 11th will be Rowley, who was involved in that contact earlier on, and Bavish, well, it goes from bad to worse, doesn't it? 11th place yesterday in Division 1. 12th place today in Division 2. Not what he would have wanted at all as he spins across the line. Skid Solo takes on lucky number 13, but otherwise, despite having a post-race penalty, it won't be enough for Sergeant Devsey to overturn. He will take 2 points for the Kickstarter team. Quan will be taking a sole point, as Falco Warrior was the only driver to be lapped in that race. Quan was not caught in the end, and he will take home a sole point for the Alpine after his teammate retired in the pit lane earlier on and caused the first was partial in causing the first safety car after Tabran went into the back of him. But after that,
shout out to that guy for putting Energetic in the top 3. He got the most points out of a prediction game, as we see a second time Energetic on the top step of the podium. None other than Snake and him have taken wins inside of the season, and it has come at the most dramatic Interlagos race we have seen probably in a while, and for this league especially. Congrats to Energetic. Race chase again with the strategy for Mexico. Finally, very likely to be in the podium. I hope he didn't have any crashes inside of the race. And Moksha holding on just by these skinniest of margins. Snake was so close to getting that DRS on the final lap. So yeah, very unlikely podium, very crazy race. And yeah, I'm hoping to see more of this because this was rather epic, you can say.
It was. Anyway, we all know your race winner. Fastest lap went to Bavish. Driver of the day goes to Energetic. Definitely my pick. Most overtakes was Bavish. Cleanest was Energetic. So, your unofficial race results coming out of round 6. It is Energetic, Race Chase, and Moksha on your podium. We didn't predict that. With 4th and 5th, respectively, going to Pleasant Snake and Truckster. 6th to 10th is David, Quincy, ADS, Salvi, and Toby, with 11th to 15th being Rolly, Bavish, Skid Solo, Devsy, and Quan. Is 16th to 18th is Falcor, Tabran, and Suribo, but Tabran and Suribo did not finish. So it was 16 finishes after all of that. We'll go through to podium interviews in just a few moments' time. We'll just wait for everybody to come in, and then, of course, Herman will be doing the questions from there on out. But Herman, what an absolute story. And Energetic, starting tonight in 3rd place, takes his 2nd win of the season. Hasn't been on the top step since round 1, and then, of course, 3rd place was round 2. And from there on out, has kind of had to sit 2nd best or 3rd best, depending on how you look at it. But now back on the top step after mistakes coming in from the championship contenders, and now Energetic, surely with that boost of confidence from the halfway point now.
Yeah, very interesting. Obviously, has thrown quite a curveball. Unfortunately, we didn't see like Quincy take an opportunity here because yeah, Snake was only like 4th, and also Chuckster was close behind. But yeah, that is obviously one very good mix-up result, you can say. So I'm interested to see how the next one is gonna go because yeah, it's a even narrower track at Imola, and yeah, this one was very feisty as well. I think we have our top 3 here. We can move to our post-race driver interviews, and we're obviously starting off with our yeah, race winner Energetic. You have once again taken to the top step on a very, I have to say, very unlikely podium. Your first stint of the race before the safety car looked very, yeah, let's say appalling. You couldn't get by on the drivers ahead. There were mostly slower guys than the safety car. Kinds of resets everything. You take your tires way better through the race than Race Trace and Moksha that were inside of that. We just do this tire to the end kind of group, and then you just win this out of the blue. How are you feeling, and how was the race from your side?
Well, the win is gonna be for Race Chase after the stewards because I had 2 moments with David and Moksha, and for David I gave damage unfortunately. So for now I'm just feeling, yeah, I raced and I kept my tires in place like 70% on the line, the right rear. But I practiced this before with my friends. I knew that the hards would go to the end from lap 12 on.
Yeah, that's obviously very good knowledge and intel on that. Yeah, let's see if what the stewards will decide. But for now, you're the race winner, and we obviously have only seen you and Snake take top steps inside of this season right now. Was Brazil something you were looking forward to in terms of the overall pace you were looking at for maybe your favorite tracks as well? Because you had a good race yesterday. Until my teammate wasn't so nice on giving you some space, I would say. So what was the overall feeling going into Brazil compared to, obviously we had a week off and Mexico before, and which wasn't that great for you? So yeah, how was your anticipation for Brazil?
When I was practicing this week, I felt that the setup was pretty good on tire temps. I was trying to control that, and this race they were like on point. They didn't overheat. They were staying in the optimal temperature for the entire race. And yeah, I was just driving. I didn't expect to be at least top 5, so I was battling with Defsy at the beginning of the race, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be my race.
Yeah, it certainly looked like. I was looking at all of the drivers starting at back, including Bevish and your reserve teammate for today. So that was certainly interesting how they turned around. Yeah, obviously still good fight. We will await the wording and everything from the stewards, but you obviously bounce back. You will have a nice solid points finish over someone like Mocho's currently chasing you for fourth. So what are your expectations going into Imola if you can attend there?
Let me look into that. I don't think I can. Next Tuesday I'm not here because my shift ends at 20:30, so that's 19:30 race time for you.
Yeah.
And I need to drive back like 35 minutes, so I'm gonna be able to make that race in Division 2, maybe Division 1 though, but I'm still considering.
Okay, what would be your overall ceiling for Imola? Good track, bad track?
It's a good track if you have the flow, if you have the good setup. If you have a bad setup, you're losing like 6, 7 tenths straight on. So
That is true. I would agree with that. Anyway, we're just gonna be looking at you obviously also being very much contender for driver of the day with that 14 positions gained. Congrats again on your P1. That's gonna be with you for the night at least, and then see what the stewards have to say about you maybe being naughty on track. Thank you very much for taking my questions, and see you whenever you can be racing with us next time.
yes, thank you.
All right, moving on to second position. That was also with Race Chase for 2 weeks ago before he was handed the time penalty. Now you did that going very long on your tire strategy again, and for what I can see now, you seem to be maybe on a trajectory of even taking that race win away. How are you feeling after this one? And were you surprised how much or how little maybe the others inside of the pack with the second stop were not gaining on you?
Yeah, I was quite surprised actually. Yeah, the hard tires, they felt pretty good. The last 5 laps, I really struggled. I knew Energetic was going to get me, and he typically is quicker than me anyway. But I just wanted to maybe stick with him in his DRS to maybe get P2. But yeah, I was quite surprised that I didn't end up like 5th or 6th. But yeah, I'll take it. I drove pretty decent, so I'm pretty happy about that. And I didn't expect to do like a one stop, but it just kind of worked out that way.
Yeah, I think especially looking at the time where the drivers were pitting, that were currently running for that top 3, 4 positions, I think there was maybe a chance at if they like they did maybe had themselves up too much. You've consistently improved now through the races. You've missed quota, but you've improved in terms of points and obviously moved up into the top 5 right now. Is there something you're particularly looking forward to the second half of the season, which we're approaching rather rapidly in terms of tracks? And obviously give me maybe a nice look out to Imola next week, please.
Well, finishing in the top 5 would be, really, really good for me. There's a lot of quick guys in here that are really good. So anywhere in the top 5, I'd be pretty proud of myself for that. And yeah, no, it's been great racing. Everybody's been, super clean, really quick. Qualifying comes down to being a pretty big thing on this game. So yeah, I don't know. I thought about starting on the hards actually, and I don't know. I'm kind of glad I didn't now. So yeah, it just worked out today. It wasn't anything like I planned, or it just kind of fell into my hands. So I'll take it.
Yeah, opportunity seized, I would say. And obviously, congrats again on second position. Looking forward to see what you can do in Imola. Have a great rest of the evening.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. And moving on to actually a driver that is in between our first and second place for tonight. That is Moksha, currently located in 4th position in the Drivers' Championship. Moksha, you have obviously looked at a rather quick Pleasant Snake for the rest of the race there, as they were closing in on a 15-lap tire advantage. I think you must have felt pretty nervous because these tires are most likely not going to be performing at their best there. How was the final race from your side?
Yeah,
Stint, sorry.
pretty exciting because I saw them closing in so fast, and I was just I know I can't get race chase and energetic anymore because I lost my pace all of a sudden, like laps 33, and then I think they made up 4 or 5 seconds the last 1 or 2 laps, and I was half a lap more, and I wouldn't have make it to the podium. But I'm glad I did because I had a really bad race, to be honest. Spun myself one time, and had the incident with energetic, so was losing a lot of time there. So glad it still was P3. I was really surprised seeing the other guys pitting, to be honest.
Yeah, it was an interesting call, and Rolly kind of kick-started that also for your teammate to have that medium in between. Made them obviously go for another strategy because Rolly, the undercut is so strong here, and then also David wasn't really catching that, and he immediately moved Snake and Quincy again into fighting. You've scored a podium in Japan so far. The last 2 races haven't been really on your side. What is your main objective for second half? And then give me, please, a quick preview for what you expect for Imola.
I don't expect anything because with the wet quali, I always start from far behind usually, and make it to the field even with better race paces is really tough because overtaking is so hard. So I can't expect to be top 5 every race or top 3 even. I'm more settling behind a little bit with these bad qualifyings of mine. So let's see. Imola, I really like this track. It depends on the day, to be honest, because one day I'm really fast there, and the other day I get 20-second track limit penalties. So let's see. I always love to drive this track because it's a really good one, but I don't know if I'm fast or not.
Yeah, obviously interesting to see, and maybe something throws another spanner in the works with the race, how it has been going for tonight. Obviously, congratulations again on P3, and then speak to you maybe in 7 days' time at the Imola Grand Prix.
Thank you, and thank you for commenting, guys.
Yeah, no worries. I think I need a lie down after that, David. My drive of the day is going to be energetic, no matter what the in-game thing says. So I think that has to be one of the, if not, at least the recent top 1 races, especially in the dry again. So we kind of try to match Sunday's race, I would say so, and we did in spectacular fashion. Any last words from your side after this very breathtaking Brazilian Grand Prix?
Well, all I have to say is that, we've had Energetic and Moksha get onto the podium for the second time, but as Energetic is confident he is not keeping that podium, that win will go to Race Chase. Well, did we get a chance to speak to Race Chase?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm really sorry. I think I got 2 voices mixed up in my own head there, and that podium interview went by very quickly for me. I don't know. Okay, I'm going insane, so maybe we should call it sooner rather than later. But otherwise, it's a great turn in the championship. Unfortunate for Energetic, he won't be showing up next week for Div 2, but we'll be there for Div 1 at the very least. Hopefully, fortunes can change, but obviously we do understand life will happen. But for Quincy, it's really the step in the wrong direction. He ends his podium streak and ends it in the worst possible way. And Pleasant Snake, a huge beneficiary considering the points and how they are scored. So Quincy, with a lot more work to do now, he is going to be over 30 points, maybe even 40 points away by the time we get into next week. And that, it just feels like it's just a bit too huge. But, again, anything can happen. And Pleasant Snake could still have a bad race to come, but usually in SSRL, the rule of thumb is usually 2 bad races and that's it. So for the top 2 in the championship, they've had their 1 bad race. Who is going to have their 2nd bad race? That's kind of the question we leave on tonight. Herman, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you to you as well, and I hope our voices are back up and running for next week.
Same here. But otherwise, Herman, thank you so much for all your help as always. Bye for now.
Bye for now. Good night.
Good night. And with that, we do wrap up another week. And that was an exciting race there. So just to make sure you are all in the know, we have, we'll be back next week at the usual time. Of course, Div 1 will be we'll be off to Italy for both Division 1 and Division 2. Of course, Monday is always dedicated to Division 1 with Tuesday, obviously dedicated to Division 2. Both start at 7:30 p.m. GMT. Set your clocks, set your calendars, and we'll see you then, hopefully. But otherwise, from myself, everybody at SSRL, and on behalf of Herman, also, we wish you a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Stay safe, stay alive. We will see you next week for more action in SSRL when we go to Imola.